Welcome to Fireside Giants. My name is Alex. Friends, family of Fireside Giants. The New York Giants just picked up the fifth-year option for running back Saquon Barkley. Of course, we all know who he is. Drafted in 2018, second overall. He's counting a lot of money this next upcoming season. $10.1 million is what Saquon is going to cost this upcoming season. We all know he's coming off an ACL tear against Chicago Bears in week 2 of last season, 2020. And he's been spending basically the last couple of months just rehabilitating from this torn ACL and a bunch of other minor ligament stuff and major ligament stuff, really. But he's on pace to get back fully healthy for the start of the 2021 season, which is a great sign for the Giants because they don't want to have to miss any time. But I do think that they'll ease him in. They won't really, put a full workload on him the second he returns. That's why they got Devontae Booker, who's really a 3-down back. They can use him in a power setting. They can use him as a pass catcher, as a pass blocker, which is very important. But Saquon, will bounce back. He'll come back and he'll hopefully be normal. I know, ACL tears are relatively easier to return from than in the past. We've seen Adrian Peterson do it successfully. Dalvin Cook has done it successfully, and he's an absolute beast. So there's no doubt in my mind that, he can make this comeback and be just fine. I know he uses that lateral quickness. He uses a lot of those, more minute agility factors in his game, and they can be more reliant on those ligaments in the knees, but I think he is very strong. The way that he tore it was a little interesting because somebody was on him, like he landed on it, and then there was extra weight applied, and everything, all his weight and the other person's weight were just bearing down on that knee, and I just think he couldn't hold it. So the angle, it was just a really bad scenario, a bad sequence of events, and just a bad angle. And I think, Saquon will be okay. He'll return. He's already been doing a lot of work with his knee and agility and cutting and doing a lot of, just strengthening exercises to get him ready for the 2021 season. But what does this fifth-year option mean, and why is it so important? The Giants, obviously, are getting a pay cut out of this, actually, because $10.1 million is what he's going to cost for the 2021 season. But by picking up his fifth-year option, they're actually going to save about $3 million in 2022, which is huge. So by picking it up in 2022, he will cost $7.2 million. There was never a doubt he was going to pick up. They were going to pick up his fifth-year option just based on that reality alone. I think for the most part, it is really important that they make sure he is 100% healthy and they get a good sample size before they commit to him long term, because we know that mega deal that he could really gain at the end of this rookie contract is a big deal. He's been in the league for 3 seasons now. His 4th year is coming up, and then that 5th year, and hopefully he makes that full return because it's going to be really significant for Daniel Jones, and that's kind of what I'm looking at. This is what Dave Gettleman said a couple weeks ago. I think health is part of the discussion, and obviously we're going to have to make a decision in the spring on whether we pick up his 5th-year option or not. Again, it comes back to the medical question. It's unknown, and what you have to do is get your trainer and your doctors involved and make your best decision. So clearly, after it was just reported yesterday that he's on track to make a full recovery and come back 100% in the near future, when the season starts, they were like, okay, it makes sense to extend this 5th-year option. I think they were going to do it anyway. I mean, they'd really get a pay cut unless they were just going to let him walk. I mean, imagine drafting him in 2018 at number 2 overall and then letting him walk after 4 years. That would be like the worst draft pick. That could have been, you could make that the worst bust in history at that point. Drafting a running back at 2 and then letting him walk after 4 years. That would be like the example of why you don't do that. But as we know, Saquon, when he's on the field, is a game changer. He's elite. He's arguably the best running back in the NFL. I used him in Madden. I made sure to get him in my Madden franchise, and he absolutely rocks people. He just shakes off tackles. Absolute freaking tank. And I'm excited that he's going to be healthy finally. And they got him a wide receiver 1. We know what he did with OBJ a couple years ago in 2018, his rookie season. The guy had over 2,000 all-purpose yards and 15 touchdowns, combined air and ground. But, when you have that wide receiver 1, it means so much to the offense because it draws attention away from the safeties and linebackers. You have to allocate an extra guy in the secondary to really pull them out of, the box. Because that's what they really were doing. Think about Pittsburgh last year in week 1. They just stacked the box, extra blitzers, extra defenders in the box, stopped Saquon. We stopped the Giants and did that perfectly. He basically had no impact. And they gave up a couple deep touchdowns. They had one to Darius Slay, and that was a pretty long one. But for the most part, they were like, we're willing to give up one long touchdown if we're going to shut down the only guy who really can make this offense move. But now you have a wide receiver one in Kenny Golladay. We're going to see what they do tomorrow with the draft. They might even go out and draft Jalen Waddle or Devonta Smith, depends who's on the board. But either of those guys are studs, and adding that to the offense, you can't stack the box. You have to play two deep safeties at all times, because you have John Ross and Darius Slay on the outside, Kenny Golladay, your 50-50 ball absolute tank, and you have to have two deep safeties back there, which takes somebody out of the box, out of the middle of that defense. And you like Saquon, draw plays, power plays, play action now opens up, crossing routes. Defense will have to play more zone coverage, basically. And I think that's a big positive for the Giants, because guys like Devonta Smith, they know how to expose zone coverage. You can run better. When you have guys out of the box, and I think that's, you can attack the seams. We know Daniel Jones loves to hit those seams. If you're playing cover 3 and cover 2, those are kind of like seam beaters. There's hole shots on the outside on those post outs. So I think Saquon's presence really helps, because it does draw a lot of attention too for his receiver. It's a give-take relationship. It's a win-win for having a wide receiver one or a couple good receivers and Saquon, who draws that much attention. But I think this fifth-year option, it was a matter of time. Super important for the Giants, and I think this is a positive for them, because now they have an extra year under the belt to evaluate him in the future, because obviously the injuries have been a problem. If he can't stay healthy, they're just going to have to let him walk after the 5th year, maybe even try to trade him, because I'm not giving him big money if he's not going to stay healthy. That's the big thing. So we'll see how this goes. Obviously, there's a lot of time for him to prove his worth. There's a lot of time for him to bounce back and show us that he can stay healthy and he can change this offense for the better. But I'm really excited about this, guys. Make sure to tune in tomorrow on the live stream. We're doing the whole draft, day 1 and day 2, so it's going to be really fun. We're going to be making highlight videos during the stream, really. We're going to be multitasking, doing crazy stuff, giveaways, hanging out, drinking some beers, having some fun, and just talking shop, and hopefully not crying and being upset about the Giants selection. Hopefully the reaction is positive, good, and I hope you guys are having an awesome week, and we'll catch you guys tomorrow for the draft.